Bro, this story is insane. Dave Chappelle, that Dave Chappelle, just got himself tangled in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death after dropping a wild line during one of his shows. Within hours, TikTok blew up with edits, proof, and theories, all pointing fingers at Charlie's widow, Erika Kirk. And here's where it gets crazy. Erika didn't stay quiet this time. Now, half the internet thinks she exposed him, the other half thinks she's covering something up, and mainstream outlets are trying to clean up the mess. So today, we're going deep. What Dave actually said, how Erika responded, what's confirmed, what's complete fiction, and how this whole thing spiraled into one of the most chaotic media firestorms of the year. Let's unpack the full timeline. Before we even touch the drama, you gotta understand where all this started. September 10th, 2025, Arizona. Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, gets shot leaving a youth leadership event. He was 31, and whether you loved or hated his politics, his murder shocked people across the spectrum. The suspect, Tyler Robinson, was caught a few days later, but right away, the internet started dissecting every frame of the footage, every statement from law enforcement, every rumor about motive. The FBI said it looked like a lone wolf political attack, but once you mix a political assassination with social media, facts don't stand a chance. That's where the rabbit holes began, and where Erika's name first started being dragged into the conversation. If you only knew her as Charlie's wife, you probably missed how public she already was. Erika Francvi, that's her maiden name, was a former Miss Arizona USA, business owner, and Christian podcast host. She ran a nonprofit helping women in crisis, spoke at faith conferences, and already had a social media following long before Charlie blew up. The two got married in 2021. And for a while, they were the conservative power couple. They'd pray together on Instagram Live, appear at Turning Point events, and share those perfectly lit motivational posts that influencers do. When Charlie was killed, Erika didn't just become a widow. She inherited his public spotlight, his audience, and all the expectations that come with it. Within a week, Turning Point USA's board announced she'd take over as CEO. And that decision, even though it followed company protocol, instantly painted a target on her back. Comments started saying, "Too soon." Others said, "Power grab." People expect grief to look small and quiet, not poised and on stage. At Charlie's memorial, Erika gave a speech that split the internet in half. She said, "You have no idea what you've unleashed across this country." Fans saw that as strength. Critics clipped it, stripped it of context, and said she sounded cold. Then came the moment where she hugged President Trump during the Medal of Freedom ceremony months later. That image circulated nonstop, framed as Erika cozying up to power. From there, every move she made was under a microscope. No public tears? She's heartless. Wearing makeup? She's performing. Hosting the podcast again? She moved on too fast. This pattern is textbook. We've seen it with every public widow from Jackie Kennedy to Meghan Markle. Once the internet decides someone's off, everything they do becomes evidence. Then out of nowhere, Dave Chappelle decides to talk about it. He's in Nashville doing one of his drop-in sets. Mid-routine, he pauses and says, "Right now in America, they say that if you talk about Charlie Kirk, that you'll get canceled." The crowd goes dead silent. You can imagine the reaction. Gasps. Phones out. Half the audience not sure if he's joking or dead serious. Someone posts the clip online, and by sunrise, it's trending everywhere. Within 12 hours, hundreds of analysis videos hit YouTube and TikTok. People start bringing back every old rumor. That she filed for divorce right before the shooting, that she received a $350,000 transfer, that her nonprofit was banned in Romania, that she was secretly working with federal agencies. None of it had proof, but the edits were cinematic. Red string graphics, eerie background music, all that stuff. Candace Owens uploaded her own reaction the same night, focusing on inconsistencies in the FBI's story, but her timing made it look like she was co-signing Chappelle's claims. It was the perfect storm. Celebrity plus mystery plus government whispers equals viral gold. And this is where Erika finally broke. When the noise online hit a boiling point, the conspiracy edits, the wild Chappelle claims, the FBI talk, Erika finally stepped forward. But here's the thing. Her response wasn't dramatic or rage-filled. It was measured, factual, and focused on protecting Charlie's legacy rather than fighting trolls. The first time she publicly spoke after Charlie's assassination was at his remembrance service in Arizona. Standing on stage, she said, "If you thought my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea what you've just unleashed across this entire country." It wasn't a defensive speech. It was a declaration. She framed Charlie's death not as an ending, but as fuel for the work he'd started. That tone defined everything she did next. Over the following weeks, Erika stayed mostly quiet on social media, but as the online speculation ramped up, she released a short video addressing the rumors directly. Calm but firm, she said, "Silence has turned into permission for lies." That was her line in the sand. She didn't name names, but it was clear who she was talking about. Instead of playing the outrage game, Erika kept her focus on facts. She never claimed to be suing anyone. She never confirmed a transfer, a feud, or any honeypot nonsense. What she did do was continue the work Charlie built, taking over Turning Point as CEO and reminding people that her husband's mission mattered more than online drama. And behind the scenes, she also took real legal action where it counted. A Utah court issued a protective order in her favor against Tyler Robinson, the man charged with Charlie's murder. That's an actual document, not internet theory, showing she's been cooperating directly with investigators since day one. So yeah, when people say Erika's staying silent, that's not exactly true. She's just choosing to speak through facts, verified updates, and actions, not endless speculation. And honestly, that restraint might be the smartest move she could have made. Many have speculated the situation involving Erika and Charlie Kirk's parents, as they never attended the public memorial. Here's the truth. Charlie's parents, Robert and Catherine Kirk, have always stayed private. They run an architecture business in Illinois and were never political. They did attend the Medal of Freedom ceremony. You can literally see them in photos next to Erika, but they've avoided interviews, which is completely normal for grieving families. But once Dave framed that silence as suspicious, it became a blank canvas for conspiracy. Suddenly, private looked like gag-ordered. Reserved looked like erased. Let's quickly run through the greatest hits. Divorce papers, zero record. No filings in Arizona, Illinois, or DC. The rumor came from a TikTok account that later admitted they heard it on Reddit. $350,000 transfer, no bank leaks, no financial documents, nothing in court filings. It started as a screenshot with no source. Romania ban? Totally false. No mention from Romanian authorities or US State Department. Fact-checked by WRAL and labeled fabricated. Family Feud? Only source is anonymous tweets. In public photos, the Kirks still attend events together, so when you strip it down, every major accusation collapses. All that's left is grief and gossip. But gossip travels faster than truth. There's a reason this story caught fire so fast, and it's not just because Dave said it. It's because it fits our favorite online narrative, the hidden villain. When something tragic happens to a public figure, the internet hunts for a mastermind behind it. It feels satisfying. It gives chaos a plot. And Erika fit the archetype. Beautiful, controlled, powerful, and now in charge of her late husband's organization. That image sells. The other reason, parasocial grief. People felt like they knew Charlie. When someone they admire dies, they project that anger onto the closest target. Add a comedian with a microphone, and suddenly the internet's doing detective work it's not qualified for. After her video blew up, Erika did something smart. She didn't disappear. She kept posting content about faith, family, and Turning Point projects. She did a sit-down with Christian Broadcast Network, staying on message but not running from questions. She said, "I can't control what people believe, but I can control how I live." That's a subtle power move. She's reframing herself as the steady one while the internet spirals. And honestly, it's working. Let's be real. Dave Chappelle built his career on pushing boundaries. He's not the apologize on Instagram notes type. In his mind, this whole thing is probably free speech and social commentary. But that's the double-edged sword of being Dave Chappelle in 2025. People don't know when you're joking. His team has made no statements, no apology, no clarification. And in the court of public opinion, silence is loud. Before all the rumors, before Dave Chappelle ever said a word, Erika and Charlie Kirk were one of those couples people pointed to as the perfect match, especially in conservative media circles. They were young, outspoken about faith, and completely aligned on what they called living with purpose. Charlie, of course, was already a powerhouse. By his early 30s, he had built Turning Point USA into one of the biggest youth political movements in America. He was commanding arenas, running daily radio shows, and had become a lightning rod in American politics. Whether you loved him or couldn't stand him, you couldn't ignore him. Erika came into the picture from a totally different lane. She wasn't a political operative. She came from pageantry, faith work, and small business. She'd won Miss Arizona USA, started a Christian lifestyle brand, and hosted a podcast called Midweek Rise Up. That's actually how Charlie first noticed her. She was speaking on faith, leadership, and discipline, the same principles he was preaching to his audience. When they got together, People in that space called them the faith-based power couple. They did joint interviews about marriage and mission, prayed live on Instagram, and were often seen side by side at Turning Point events. The chemistry looked genuine. They shared not just a platform, but a philosophy. In their early years of marriage, Erika wasn't just Charlie's wife. She started her own nonprofit work, helped organize student faith conferences, and even launched digital projects encouraging young people to live boldly through belief. You can tell she was intentional about not being in Charlie's shadow, but also never competing with him. And by most accounts, Charlie was supportive of that. Friends close to them described him as energized by Erika's drive. She brought a more spiritual, less combative side to his brand, which, let's be honest, helped balance out how polarizing he could be online. But behind the highlight reels, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Charlie's schedule was brutal. Constant travel, filming, events, and non-stop commentary. Erika's life shifted from podcasting and ministry to living under national scrutiny 24/7. Still, they leaned on their shared faith and commitment to the mission. Their last public appearance together was just weeks before the shooting. They were seen at a youth leadership summit, smiling, hugging fans, and ending their talk with prayer. From all outside appearances, they looked solid. No hints of tension, no sign of distance. That's why Charlie's death hit people so hard. It didn't just feel like the loss of a political figure. It felt like the collapse of this carefully built image of unity and purpose. And it's exactly because they were that tight, that public, and that admired together that the internet couldn't accept something so senseless happening without a bigger explanation. All right, so here's where we land. The story of Erika and Charlie Kirk isn't just about politics or controversy. It's about how fast truth can get buried under noise. One day you're a couple building something together, and the next, your name's being tossed around in conspiracy videos, reaction edits, and comedy sets, like you're part of some Netflix thriller. At the end of the day, what's actually confirmed is simple. Charlie's gone. Erika's been left to carry his legacy, and everything else, the money rumors, the family silence, the FBI cover-up talk, none of it's ever been proven. It's speculation, built on half clips and social media emotion. Whether you like Erika or not, you've got to admit, she's handled it differently than most people would. Calm, careful, factual. She didn't clap back with lawsuits or chaos. She chose to keep her faith front and center and let time speak for her. And in a world that thrives on instant outrage, that's probably the most rebellious thing you can do. But I'll throw it to you. What do you think? Was Dave Chappelle just pushing boundaries and asking hard questions? Or did he cross a line by turning someone's tragedy into a public spectacle? And do you think Erika's response helped clear the air? Or did it just add more fuel to the fire? Drop your take in the comments. I read every one. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.